Celtic Ligers, Celtic Ligers, Celtic Ligers, Celtic Ligers, Celtic. James recorded on his laptop mic again. Sozzles.
Yeah, my friend had one of those alarm clocks that it had wheels on it, and like when it went off, it would run around the place.
Like a Toy Story.
Yeah, but then it just
Like a Toy Story.
You just turn the wheels off. There's an option to turn the wheels off.
That was it. One time I had the thing I was telling you about, a Wake You alarm clock where you could record your own things on it, you know, to be your wake up call. And I was like, I think we spoke about like having like a Game Boy camera, and I was just very protective over the stuff, because once you recorded over a message, there wasn't an option for like another message. So I used to feel like great pressure to keep whatever was there. If it was a moment that felt like, oh, that was a moment where me and my friends were goofing around, and now I want to have this bit of audio preserved. But one of the ones that they had is my friend recorded my cousin crying, because my cousin like was just, well, he would like really, he was like a little kid, and he realized the power of like his tears essentially. So he would very performatively cry if only the smallest thing had happened to him. But it was so loud and obnoxious. And so my friend recorded it, and I was like, I didn't want to get rid of it, because I thought like, man, this is a moment where it was such an in-joke.
Yeah.
It's a bit of history that's being recorded over. And then I just recorded over it with like fucking, I don't know, The Killers or something, to be like, yeah, I want to wake up to Mr. Brightside or something.
Yeah, it just ruined.
Definitely never Mr.
Yourself.
Brightside.
I remember when I had a phone that recorded the first time, and I remember recording. Do you remember Eskimo Bob?
Why does that sound? That sounds familiar, but I don't know it.
That is, if anyone out there remembers Eskimo Bob, that was the first like Flash cartoon thing I ever watched. It used to take like 10 minutes to load the Flash video, and the guy would just randomly update Eskimo Bob, and each episode would be like 20 seconds long.
Never seen this. Do not know what this is at all. Yeah.
Is it still up?
Well, I just typed in Eskimo Bob. There's an EskimoBob.com.
Yeah.
And the Wikipedia calls it an 8-bit puzzle platform with 64 levels of fish collecting.
No.
But the visuals look like a Flash cartoon. They look like a really disgusting Flash cartoon.
Yeah, it was like that. And then for some reason, so it was Eskimo Bob was the main character, and he was blue. And he would just sort of go around like clubbing seals and stuff.
Right.
And then for some reason, this guy called Alfonso came in and sort of took over. It was called Eskimo Bob starring Alfonso.
Okay.
And it just did its own thing for a very long time, and it looks like he's still updating it. It looks like it.
What?
Well, if you go to EskimoBob.com, it looks like he tried to make a game or something in 2019.
Eskimo.
Which would be literally
to celebrate,
15
we will be posting the VHS release of Eskimo Bob on YouTube on January 17th, 2021.
Whoa.
So we're 3 days away from an update.
That's such a coincidence, isn't it?
Yeah.
I haven't thought about
yeah.
Eskimo Bob in like 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
And now it's like a 3-day countdown. I didn't even know he released a video of it.
It's like the Gary Larson thing, do you know?
Yeah.
It's like when all of a sudden they were like, there's going to be new Far Side cartoons. You're like, excuse me? Do you know?
Yeah.
Like,
this is here, episodes 1 to 18. Like, if I remember correctly, that's literally like 3 minutes worth of material. Yeah, he clubbed seals, and then there was a big seal that would come after him, and then there was a yeti. And like, it was all nonsensical. But I remember recording the intro from my phone and being very like, sort of hoping someone would know what it was, but I also knew they wouldn't, you know?
I used to do that quite a lot. I used to think about, what was it? Well, I guess I just remember being in school and having like a kind of CD player and be playing stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And they'd be asking me what bands I'd be listening to, and then I'd say it. And then this one time, this kid said, "Do you deliberately choose bands that nobody's ever fucking heard of?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "No." And then the more I thought about it, I had a real crisis after he said that to me, because I really felt I'd been rumbled. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, it sort of ruins it when someone accuses you of being like when someone
Exactly what you are.
Exactly, you know.
Like, you just think that you're being so clever, and then you realize, like, no, they can see exactly through this. Like, there was another time I used to really like Green Day quite a lot, and I remember this girl in secondary school. She said, "Oh, I just find them kind of pathetic because they're like 40-year-old men who are still trying to do that California punk thing, do you know?"
Yeah.
And I really tried to go to bat for them, but in that moment, I knew that she was right, and I didn't know what to fucking say, do you know?
What did you say?
And
like...
it just completely. I was just like, I don't know if I agree with that, and I said some vague point that didn't mean anything. But then, like, every time I like put the headphones in after that, I was like, fuck, I can't.
Yeah, maybe they are.
Listen to this anymore.
Maybe they are losers.
But then, like, now that I've grown up, I was like, you know, somebody said to me, "Oh, they're losers," I'd be like, yeah, what of it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it was very important to me that they not be losers back at that time, do you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I remember the two friends in my school, and one of them was really into, like, do you remember on Bebo people would post like what I'm listening to or like my favourite bands, and he put up literally like 150 bands. And then someone else's friend was like, "Why does he do that? Like, does he deliberately just choose, like you?" They were like, "Does he just deliberately choose like awkward music?"
Yeah.
And his friend was like, "Yeah, some people are just like that, you know." It's true. Some people are just like that, just choosing awkward music.
I was remembering there was another mate of mine who one time he used to laugh all the time. He used to just be a very happy person, you know. And then this guy just one day said to him, like, "Why are you always fucking laughing?" And then he just said that he just remembered distinctly that day just kind of being pissed off that the guy said it and consciously not laughing after that.
Really?
You know, where like teenagers get really like self-conscious and then they just immediately change their habits, you know? Yeah, I'm just looking up. I'm playing a game.
Funny, I never really had that. I was like so absurdly... I'm sort of messing with the game, I'm just checking.
Yeah.
I was so absurdly self-confident. Not even self-confident. It just like, you know, when you see like you're watching TV and someone will be getting bullied.
Yeah.
I'd just be like, "Oh, that only happens on TV." Like, people getting bullied or like someone like taking something too personally. I'd be like, "Yeah, that only happens on TV when someone like insults you and then you change how you act." It's like, that's like what Zach would do, but it's not what a real person would do. Because,
well, I like would use what I saw on TV as a barometer or like some sort of comparison to how you were supposed to act in real life,
really?
You know? So like, it took me forever to kind of realize, now going back and watching Friends and some of the stuff that was like, social faux pas and things like that, I took those for granted as things that were like, oh, actually they are faux pas, rather than some writer needed to come up with something for a deadline and it's like, you know, I'm trying to think of something that they would do that like I don't know.
Well, like,
even
there
like,
were definitely things you probably thought were rude, like Rachel getting annoyed at Ross over something, and you'd be like, "Well, I better be careful not to do that, not to like forget our 3-month anniversary," you know.
And that's what led to, like, I was in a relationship where this person was not very nice to me.
Yeah.
But I thought, like, the stuff that they were doing, it was like, oh yes, I'm the one who's wrong because I like
I'm Ross,
fucking,
you know.
Yeah. This is what the guy, it's a living, you know, like a fucking Flintstones bird. Yeah, that's what I was doing. I was emulating the Flintstones now as well, because also the
I really paid a lot of attention
animals.
to the Flintstones bird when I was young. They really made
I was like, oh, brother,
unrealistic expectations of young men.
Yeah.
Can you clarify something for me? You're a
yes.
Owen O'Brien stan.
Okay, I'm not really. I mean, I don't. I'm feeling very stupid the past while. I'm going to try and do some reading and catch up.
Well, here's some
things,
reading for you. And,
yeah.
and, I'm don't have a stake in this, but it says O'Brien opposed social housing project after asking constituents for their views. And the whole thing is that.
Yeah, no, that's what they're trying to do at the moment. This is the new line from Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil, as in, like, you know. I mean, I don't know anything about it.
They called him a NIMBY, like.
Yeah. No, that's the goal. I mean, I think that's actually, for the first time ever, they finally have a tactic that is actually worthy of the,
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, all the other stuff was like, oh, the Ra, and now it's like, oh, now they're saying stuff. You're like, yes, exactly. Now you recognize your opponent.
Yeah.
But here's I have no knowledge, okay? So here's my take on it.
Nice.
Which is, I mean, you just look at O'Devany Gardens, Oscar Traynor Road and stuff like that. Well, actually, not Oscar Traynor Road's a bad example. But look at O'Devany Gardens. That thing passed and the private market was meant to step in and start building these houses. So the argument that these people have is like, here, it's not a lot of social housing, but it's enough. We need to get going on this. And then the private group have not started building them, and they've started dragging their feet, and it's looking going to be like, 2023 until they get going, or something like that. Do you know what I mean? It's there's some future date. They kick the can down the road. There's planning permission. There's all sorts of stuff that the private market will do to try and rinse more money out of, the good people of Dublin.
Yeah.
And I guess that's where I would always fall whenever they say, oh, he voted down these things or went against them. It's like, it's never as simple as just saying, oh, they want it to be like, oh, he doesn't want social housing, as opposed to like, yeah, but what were the terms and what was it in relation to private developers and what was the deal? What was happening? Do you know what I mean? And then the other thing that I always have questions about is they go, and now the thing is going to be like gummed up for like decades. And I was like, why?
Yeah,
whose fault is that? Isn't that like your responsibility? Shouldn't you be doing something? It's like they're like acting like they're completely, what's the word I'm looking for, where passive participants in this. It's like the deals come in, we approve or whatever, and if you don't approve them, then the thing doesn't get built, and what the fuck? And it's like, yeah, well, I mean, I don't buy it. I mean, like, maybe there's merit to the argument. I have to do like more investigation. Like I wouldn't put it like
yeah.
I wouldn't.
I'd sort of side. It seems like, I mean, the only thing he's disagreeing with is they were trying to build like 28 units or whatever, and he was just like, that's too many. People want 15 or 10, and like that. Oh no, Brian. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Well, I mean, it could be a case that like we don't even know what the site looks
like. Exactly. Like you could easily imagine that 28 is way too many. Like you can. Obviously, there's a housing shortage, but that doesn't mean you cram in as many houses.
Yeah, exactly. Sure, you look at it like it'd be like the co-living thing. It's like we need to get as many of these going as possible because there are people on the streets, and it's like that is. I don't know. I mean, I guess it's like there's a stupid basic logic to this that appeals to dumbasses. That like, oh yeah, a bed is a bed, so why are you complaining? But then there's the other part where it's like, I mean, if you believe that, then why don't you go into the city centre and all these vacant properties, why don't you put them to use as, places for people to go? If a bed is just a bed, it's like, oh, let's put one in the fucking shed or something. I don't know. It's this,
or even like, well, all these things, there's always like a lack of holistic view, where there's like, a bed's a bed, and then they don't realise that if you just stick a big co-living thing, it increases like traffic in the area, or it increases like, you have to have the area able to support these things.
Yeah, but there's also like the thing that I saw with O'Devany Gardens.
Yeah.
I believe that they left room open anyways on the plan. So now they're like investigating to shove in more units, essentially,
Yeah.
So like, they're going to try and get the most maximum amount of profit out of this land. So to build less houses on it it just means that they might actually be quality fucking houses that you could set up a community around it and encourage like the type of things that would mean that an area gets developed and I guess encourages population centers to expand out. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how it works. I'm just saying, like, it's like, who are you going to trust? This guy who's like written 2 books on it and is like a tireless advocate on behalf of social housing, or this other guy who like gels up his hair in a stupid way.
Oh, is this the guy with the insane hairstyle?
David McManus, yeah.
His hairstyle is so weird.
I mean, like obviously, once you saw it, you knew he's doing that because he wants you to go after his appearance and how dumb he looks.
I don't know.
So
I
that,
think he's
like,
just like completely psycho.
well, you're like, I wonder if it's a bit even like Conan O'Brien. You know the way like you look at Conan O'Brien's hair now, and you look at it like back in when he just took up the gig.
Yeah.
And it's like he has to have this ridiculous Tilda Swinton swirl on the top of his head.
Kramer.
You know? Or Kramer, yeah.
I mean, what I think really happened is that he always does his hair like that, and then he's not getting his hair cut recently because of it. That's
what he said. That's what he claimed. He was like, "Oh yeah, you want me to go get my hair cut in the middle of a pandemic? I think I'll wait until after." It's like that's what made me think like, "Oh, you're just a dumbass. You know that you don't need to have your hair.
Yeah.
Like there's a way that you have long hair like that. You just put a bit of fucking wax in it and put a form on it. You don't need to have this like literal like Jimmy Neutron streak just pointing straight up. You know,
it reminds me of like when I was 15 and I was going to Wes for like a junior disco for the first time.
Yeah.
And I trying to put in gel into my hair and then like getting it wrong. And I remember just looking in the mirror and being like, this is fucked up and I don't know what to do. And it's like, my hair is way too tall and way too spiky and I don't know how to change it.
Like I just kind of couldn't do gel because I was like, I don't want to risk. I kind of realized that I might have from therapy and people. He didn't say this. He didn't diagnose me, but I have a feeling that I have some sort of mild OCD about like contaminants. Okay.
Yeah.
Because the idea of having gunk in my hair, it just makes me so upset. You know. So whenever we were at the hairdressers, like when I was a kid, they'd be like, "Do you want to put product in?" And I'd be too shy to say anything, and then start putting product through it, and I'd be like crying in the chair, but just keeping like a face, like straight face, and just tears streaking down. And they're like, "Are you all right? Did we get something in your eyes?" Like, "Yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah.
You know. But I just like the idea of it. It was so disgusting, but also the idea. I kind of think I was paralyzed by the idea that people thought that I had notions. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they thought that I would be, you know, that I thought this was a good looking cut, you know.
That you'd made any choice, any decision.
Yeah, you know? Yeah. No, I just want to pass through. You just look at my hair. You're like, oh, there's a person. They exist.
Yeah.
And go about your life. Do you know.
God, my parents used to always be on about me looking like an American. Like they really wanted me to look like an American.
They wanted you to look like an
American. I
American.
don't know why, but they did. And then like the best moment in their life was like we went to America and I got a haircut in some barber. And they probably just went like, make him look American. And the guy was like, oh, okay. And I think they gave me a crew cut or something.
Jesus. What's a crew cut exactly? I can't remember.
I don't know. I just said it because it sounded American.
I've seen it in Tony Hawk's games.
They gave me an afro.
I mean, it is American. Oh, a crew cut. I'm looking at it now. Yeah, that's like the average haircut here, you know?
Yeah.
Anyhow,
do you see anything about Mary Lou?
Yeah, I'm very disappointed. Do you know what? I kind of want to say now, I'm like I was all against this
cancel culture.
No, no, like a few weeks ago, I still think that it's bullshit following, like, did we actually talk about your man from Young Fianna Fáil leaving because he said that they had like a WhatsApp group where they were rating all of the female members, and like they tried, you know, so then Aoife Grace Moore, to her credit,
that's such like a sexless thing to do as well. Do you know what I mean? It's like all those guys hate women and they're just like they're not even, I don't know, it's like,
are you telling me that the fucking slugs who are in Young Fianna Fáil have like some, like, that you expected something more of them? Do you know what I mean? Like anybody who's like any of these, like, because the guy who did it, I can't remember his name again, but we've talked about him before. He was the one talking about like wear a suit in the dawn.
But like,
so he's like a fucking weirdo anyway. It's like, who gives a shit?
You know the way we were talking about copying stuff off of sitcoms.
That's such a Joey thing
to do. You can almost imagine it watching like Friends. And they were like, or like what was the one that came after Friends? How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah.
And they were like,
well, the thing is, guys are always going to be looking at women and judging them.
Let's
and,
just suit up and rate all the women. You know?
Suit up and rate all the women. You know, there was one that I thought about quite often, which is that bit out of you know that movie I Love You Man. You know the one, and it's like Paul Rudd and Jason Segel, and it's like Paul Rudd doesn't have any friends, so he has to try and find the best friend to be his best man at the wedding.
Yeah.
So they're all just like boys hanging out, and it's meant to
Such
be like
a perfunctory film. Do you know what I mean? It's just like
yeah.
It has to be.
No, but like at the time, like Empire and all these things would be calling it. Oh, it's the first bromantic comedy. Do you know? But one of the things that happened in it is they go into like his man cave, Jason Segel's man cave, and he's got like a little fucking table of like lotions and porno and shit. And he goes, "Oh, that's my masturbation station." And then he said something like, "Every man has one," or something like that. He didn't say that every man has one, but he was like, he asked Paul Rudd, "What do you think of when you're masturbating?" And Paul Rudd's like, "I just think about my fiance." And he's like, "That is so fucked up, man. You gotta think of like porn, you know, and blah blah, blah and women, and you gotta watch porno and da da da." And I guess that stuck out of my head at a certain point where I was kind of like, oh fuck that. I guess that's what men do. Men, like, you know, don't think about their partners, or they watch like copious amounts of porn. But then the other thing is like even the act of asking the question to a fucking another human being. Yeah. Like, what do you masturbate to?
Basically sexual harassment.
Like, I wouldn't, like, the idea that was like portrayed as kind of like, this is just dudes being dudes. It's like, this is so, anyway, yeah. Like, I keep coming back to that and realizing like how weird it was that I kind of was thinking like, fuck, maybe that's what it's like. Maybe I'm just not a normal man because I don't have male friends that ask me how I like jack off, you know.
We did the suit up thing once, me and my friends. We wore suits and we went to TGI Friday.
Gee. At TGI Friday, is that really complacent?
And they're just like, the waiter was just like, what the fuck? It's like, all these 16-year-olds just wearing these horrible suits, just being like, and then we just acted like, we weren't like doing anything mad. Do you know what I mean? We just were like, ate our burger and went home.
That happened all the time with me when I would try to like recreate stuff that I thought was really cool, and then you'd find yourself doing the thing and then just being like, well, I guess this is it, and you know, you're still the same person. You're still not you're still not somebody who's like wearing a suit to a TGI Fridays as if like it's no thing, you know.
That's it. Like the conversation was the same, and I remember like that was slightly disappointing to me. I thought somehow the conversation would be different. You know?
It would be better. But what I mean to say, what it was good, but like, you know. Aoife Grace Moore, she reported on it, but then other people were trying to tag Jennifer Bray in the Irish Times like, oh, you talked about Christine O'Mahony and that Sinn Féin guy, you're going to talk about this, you know. And of course she didn't, and of course nobody had any interest of it, and of course even the guy from Fine Gael who went to your man's house in Limerick to threaten him and got the post removed, none of that was talked about either. And it's just like this thing where it's, but anyways, at the time with the Christine O'Mahony thing, I was kind of really pissed off. I was just feeling like I hated Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael so much, and I wanted them gone. And the idea of somebody who was kind of like challenging them over what I thought were kind of spurious or bullshit reasons, I was kind of like, you know, oh, they have their baggage, they're not perfect, but anyways, I have to say, in the past like month or two, some of the stuff that Mary Lou has done completely of her own volition, you know what I mean? Like the not putting up a particularly strong opposition, you know, presenting zero COVID, and kind of being in support of a lot of the business measures and stuff. And also like shit like this, like a week where the mother and baby home stuff gets released and she's like, you know, Woody Allen's pretty cool. And it's just kind of like, man, you didn't have to do that. Yeah. You really could have avoided that. And it's like I compared it online to the Eamon Ryan N-word thing, which is like it's not the worst thing you could do. I mean, it's pretty bad when he said the N-word. But what I'm saying is like there's a context for it that kind of like you go, okay, I guess I see why you did that. But at the same time, it's like if you're a politician and you do that, it's like you're too dumb to keep this job. Like, it's the thing from Casino.
I don't think either of the things are that bad, but like. It is just such a weird take for her to put out there, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Who is going to like that, you know?
Yeah.
And why would you say it? Like,
Yeah.
sure, even if she was like, I like Woody Allen, shame about the guy, but I like the films. You know what I mean? But instead she was like,
yeah.
cancel culture, I'm not, even the thing, she was like, I'm not convinced by cancel culture. Such a,
Yeah.
like, what does that mean? It's just like the most vague way of opening yourself up to criticism. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I think that when they say cancel culture, it always reminds me, it makes me feel like they think it's a tactic. They're acting like it's this thing that people do rather than just some sort of mob response to something that's, shit.
Like, it was a semi-tactic.
No, it used to be, like Dixie Chicks and boycotting and all this
But
type
then,
of
like,
stuff. But, like,
I mean, there's more, I don't know, because, like, do you remember when Joe Biden got Me Too'd and then everyone's just like, okay, Me Too is over, let's not go after him. And then, like, I think something happened with Andrew Cuomo as well.
That was funny. I only kind of heard that on a certain podcast.
Yeah. Did you hear the last episode of that?
No, I haven't.
They got the guy on from Zero Books.
Oh no, you're joking me.
And, like, it's so weird because he doesn't know what the podcast is.
How the fuck did that happen?
He got a community strike on YouTube or something. And then, I don't know, he just came on the podcast to complain.
We should clarify that we're talking about Cometown.
Yeah.
A guy who is on, like, kind of Zero Books is kind of like, he puts up videos. Is this Ben Burgess or somebody else?
Lane something.
But anyway, on YouTube, like, they put out stuff where it's like, here's the Jordan Peterson's, like, the fallacies of his, or...
Yeah, they put out, like, social criticism.
Yeah, like left-wing takedowns of right-wing figures or elaborations on left-wing concepts and stuff like this. And it is very odd to have them on, like, what is kind of just
like an offensive podcast.
Just a deliberately kind of problematic, provocative podcast, I guess. I don't know. It's very difficult to say.
Doug Lane is the guy.
Doug Lane, that guy.
Yeah.
I love that guy's voice. He's the one who's like, we were talking about him at the early days of this podcast because he had like great videos, but the thing about him is that he gets to the end of it and we're not entirely sure what the fuck he's actually saying.
That's it. It'd be talking about, the right-wing performativity or the masculine performativity of Jordan Peterson. And then he's like, so I was talking about The Simpsons, and then I'd be talking about, like, the workers' strike in Glasgow and, like, the start of the 20th century. And then it's over then. And it's like, I don't understand how any of those points linked, but I enjoyed the whole...
It is, but like he's got a great voice for it. His videos are like the editing on them and the he's got like a sound bed similar to the one playing under us right now. Just the kind of like, there's such a chill vibe to all of his videos. You can kind of get sucked into this thing of just watching about 10 of them in a row without even really thinking about it.
They're like the lo-fi hip-hop beats to study to, sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that's very strange that he was on that. But yeah, no, you were saying anyway about cancel culture. I was saying that it was like, I don't even, people kind of, like if she said it in the way that you said it, because I don't even know if that's a direct quote, but she's like, I don't agree. I'm not convinced. Yeah, I feel like, to me, like cancel culture, it'd be like saying like, I'm not really convinced by riots. It's like, it's not really a thing. It's not something that I believe anyway at the moment that people engage in a sort of kind of conscious way. It's like,
yeah, I know what you mean. Exactly. It's not really like, what did she mean? I presume what I gathered what she meant is that she's like, I just think it's okay to watch Woody Allen.
Yeah.
But she was like, I'm not convinced by cancel culture. She was really just saying, I think you can still watch the shows or engage with the art or something. But like, it's not a very considered argument. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Like, on Michael and Us, they talk about liking Woody Allen, but they're very conscious and kind of say like, it's, he's got his issues, and I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
Particularly when she was trying to court, like, the feminist, sort of vote, But
that's the thing as well, because,
who did she accuse of mansplaining? Was it a...
Yeah, I can't remember.
I think it was Michal Martin.
She knows what she's doing in that way, because, you hear her on, like, podcasts and stuff, and it's kind of courting leftist sort of things.
Yeah.
And I guess I've just been, like... I was thinking back over the year 2020.
What a year.
And how, like, it was... What a year. Fine vintage. But it was, like, at the start of it, we were, like, oh, shit, what does this mean with Sinn Féin,
Yeah.
And then we were kind of like, where are they? They're kind of absent. And then it was like, oh, Mary Lou has COVID. Oh, maybe that's it. And it's like, oh, you don't want to rock the boat in the middle of a crisis. And now what you're seeing is, like, two tremendous government failures back to back. And it's like, she's on radio talking about Woody Allen. It's like, I don't know how much more I'm prepared to ignore your lack of action on certain things, do you know?
Yeah.
Like, and you saw a bit of that. You saw a bit of the fucking fire when Leo the Leak shit. Like, that was Sinn Féin, like, going, okay, we're going in on this, do you know what I mean? And they had Pierce Doherty taking fucking strips off of him, do you know? But he wasn't yelling at him, but he was just very tactically and deliberately going after him in a very kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, kind of like a lawyer or something, you know? But in this case, it's like they're doing a kind of, like, somebody compared it. I mean, I was already thinking this before they said it, but it's similar to Starmer, you know, this thing where it's like they're in a moment where it's like they have something, they don't know what to do with it, and they're just like, fuck. Like, I guess it's because their solutions are quite similar to the solutions that Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael would be doing. That they don't want to say anything, and they don't want to risk kind of going one way or the other, losing one part of the base.
They're like going after the centre, so they're sort of trying not to, like, they're trying not to lose anybody, as opposed to trying not to gain anything.
Yeah,
like maybe they know there's going to be there's talk of an election. There's talk about how to do it safely. Yeah. So maybe they're just aware that there's an election or something, and they're just like...
But like, somebody said, like, just before I got on this recall, I was listening to Aaron Bastani interviewing, I can't remember the name of him, but they were talking about Starmer, and he just said a quote in it from somebody else. I don't know, a quote within a quote. It's like, Exhibit. You like a quote? We put a quote in your quote. But anyhow, he's like, but he was like, you walk down the center of the road, you get hit by cars on both sides. Do you know what I mean? You're liable to. It's this thing where it's like, stop trying to do this kind of courting both sides. Stick to something, and you might actually fucking nothing. Risked, nothing gained.
That's it. And I don't think you can, like, in the way that they're trying to. I don't think you can court, like, the right and the left.
Yeah, and like, Fine Gael aren't even doing that. They're just exclusively courting the right. Oh yeah, Yeah. But so it's like the idea that, like, you are kind of like, oh, we have to be careful the way. It's like, don't bother, because they're not bothering, and they're kind of consolidating a base of people at the moment.
Like, I think part of the issue is that Sinn Féin, probably as a party, doesn't really make a lot of sense. Like, outside of the realm of nationalism, like, everyone in Sinn Féin wants a 32 county republic. Or at least United Ireland, whatever it would look like. But then when it comes to policy, like, maybe it doesn't make sense to have, like, Mary Lou and Owen O'Brien and, Desi Ellis in the same party. Like, maybe that's not a coherent worldview, you know what I mean?
I mean, you look at some of these councillors and some of this...
I guess some of the councillors are such headbangers, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But I don't know. I mean, like, I guess, I want to know more, but I don't feel like we complained about this at the start, where it was like, where is the online town halls? Where is the effort to keep that momentum going from the election? And they kind of just petered out, And
do you remember the town hall? They were like calling town halls, and then Fine Gael were accusing them of...
It was the putches, like, all these people of a putsch, or whatever.
A putsch?
Like the beer hall putsch. And...
Oh yeah, they were. Yeah. And now they're just watching Woody Allen.
This is the thing, is I don't want to give out too much, I guess. But I also, one thing that I found, like, the most despairing discourse that I've seen is, so it happened like a few weeks ago. Somebody tweeted out something like, I'm never giving preference to people before profit again because of what they're saying to Sinn Féin, you know? What they're saying to Sinn Féin is pursue a zero COVID strategy, have some backbone at this moment in time.
Yeah.
And you go into the replies and all these people are like, you know, some of the stuff that they're saying is like, oh yeah, did you know people before profit support Brexit? And then they don't really elaborate. And then they tag like one of the PBP politicians in it, and they don't get back. But like, are they Brexit or are they Eurosceptic? Because both of those are two completely different positions, you know? And then like they were saying, they do this other thing, which is like, you know, I know I was kind of guilty of it myself because I just hate Varadkar, but it's this thing where it's like, oh, you know, PVP only got voted in from Sinn Féin transfers. And it's this idea where it's like, whoever gets the votes and is voted in, that's it. When you stop talking about like, oh, they got in on this count or they got in on that count or this whatever, you know, it's like, I'd prefer to go after the person and the policies as opposed to like whether their election is legitimate or not, you know? But like that's what I've seen is in like they benefited from them, but I'm not going to give it to them anymore because they're not, you know, kind of coming together and making a strong left that can kick out these people. And it's like, what type of left do you want to go in if they can't put up with that sort of criticism? Like, you want a fucking flabby piece of shit people that would just kind of accept the crumbs that they throw out because, oh, they're the good guys and Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil are the bad guys. It's like, I want a robust party that's going in there who is going to prove that actually this works. And, you know, the way that happens is if you know, stick to like the things that I believe, which is like there's an excuse to be had for most of the year to be like, why didn't you pursue zero COVID? And it's like, well, we didn't know what we were dealing with. Now we do know what we're dealing with, and not to pursue zero COVID is a policy decision, and it's to somebody's benefit, you know. It's a big business's benefit. And if you don't have an answer to that, rather than the same kind of, well, we need to be careful what we do now, it's like you're not really committed. You don't really, your hatred isn't pure. You're not in this, are you? Do you know? I don't know. I find that's so pathetic. It's like, no, I want you to treat me like baby, or I won't vote for you. Do you know?
No, that is true. Do you see? We were talking about EU. Do you see they have the new police force?
Like, I saw this fucking grim Starship Troopers style video. Like,
someone was like, and I never agree with this, but they were like, such a fash uniform, and it really is. Really, like, it's, what is it called? I'll look it up.
I can't remember, but even then, it like so it was like on Twitter. This is all I've seen of it. I don't know anything else about it. But it was like a video. It's like, here's our new uniforms for such and such a group that we've just started. And it's like this fucking, it looks like Joel Schumacher Batman, just like these like sweeping shots across the torso. Somebody's like suiting up. And then on the side of it, they've got like, you know, the labels. And it looks like the same old disgusting uniform for any officer that you'd have. But like the pride that they have in it and the fact that they put this out and it's like, keeping our borders safe. And it's like, it's just one of the fucking...
That's it, like, and it's all about immigration. Like, if you go to their Twitter, it's just like, it's just all, like, oh yeah, immigration is down, thanks to, like, thanks to these lads.
How? Tell me what they were doing. Where thanks to these people throwing chains into the motors of incoming boats. Like, what were they doing exactly?
Yeah, or just, like, putting on a shark fin and then like
forcing the fucking invading hordes coming from, you know, places that we destabilized, or, you know, the UK definitely
it's called Frontex.
And even then, like, that's like Skynet. That's like, you know,
and like, so the tweet is, for the first time the EU has its own uniformed service, the European Border and Coast Guard Standing Corps. And here's a sneak peek of the uniform.
Mm.
And
ooh, Ooh, I'm so excited. It's like a Marvel movie. It's like
It really
when you see
is.
like fucking Daredevil's costume. It's like when you or like fucking when we were looking at like Batman photographs trying to be like, okay, now this was a colorized photo, it was done in red and black, but I've desaturated now and upped the brightness, and we can clearly see that the insignia is made from the gun that killed his parents. That was written in the Kevin Smith comic, but this is like that except for like fucking European imperialism.
I know.
You know?
And like, like any time in history to start ramping up like Fortress Europe is just now is the cruelest time, because like we're already like there's a global pandemic for a start, and then there's like the effects of climate change, but like you're also just seeing like the people coming are coming from areas that are going to be harder hit by climate change, but they're also like have less access to a vaccine, you know, like there are all these vaccines coming out, and obviously, you know, they have different rates of effectiveness, and one, like some are like 95, like the Russian one, and then others are lower, and like one's like 60. I can't remember what it is. It's like, who do you think is getting the one that's 60% effective? You know, it's not us, it's the fellas outside of the EU, you know? So like, you're going to get this weird situation where it's like, we're like, militarily we're stronger, you know, like economically we're stronger, but also like biologically we're stronger, you know? Like we have more resilience to COVID, you know?
Yeah.
Like if this is the precedent, and like they keep saying this, they're like, because of like deforestation and climate change and all these things, we're going to have more pandemics.
Yeah.
Like, is this going to be the way it works? Is that there's a global pandemic, we ramp up border security, we make sure that we get the vaccine and other people can get a lower vaccine, and then that means we have more of a, what's the word, like a reason to ramp up security because we want to keep the virus out, you know?
Yeah, and I mean, this happened at the start. You know, Trump in 2017, there was like the caravan was the word in America.
Yeah.
This caravan of migrants that were coming up from the south, and you know, obviously there's the fucking build the wall thing, which kind of like fell to the background a bit, but was a good rallying cry for the supporters.
But now imagine they could say like that caravan also has.
No, that's exactly it. As in, like, it just becomes the physical embodiment of this fucking virus. You know, like not only is it like, are they treating it like this abstract, just fucking massive, you know, savages of human, you know, beings being depicted as like this, you know, again, the oncoming hordes, but now they're not only that, they're also like a fucking virus.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're infectious to the touch, you know, you can't even go near them, you know? Yeah, it's vile. And like, you know, the European Union is something to be highly critical of. So the idea of now the Brexit has given them such cover, because Brexit has become this and also the fucking Labour Party, and mostly I'd say the Labour right in the UK, because no left wing opposition was put up to Europe, as in something, a left wing plan, a deal that could, you know, now Brexit is just synonymous with, and it always was. Brexit will always be, the term and the concept and wherever it came from will always be synonymous with racists and fucking, you know, just bad people, basically.
Bad dudes.
But bad hombres, as you know. Did Trump say that? Did Trump say they were bad hombres or bad dudes?
Yeah.
But anyway, so now, but because of that, the idea of being skeptical of Europe is also coloured with that.
That's it.
So now,
it became like Europe against a racist. Like, people forgot that Europe is also racist, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Like, just look at the treatment of people trying to get into the country, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I have a good publication, and it's like a few essays about immigration to Europe, like the immigration, the migrant crisis, and then it was, I can't remember what, somewhere in Italy towards the south, and they were trying to help people sneak in to Italy, and it was just like this one village who were like coming together to try, like helping people, you know. I can't remember what the situation was, but they were like, all these like people with big cars going to collect the migrants and like bringing them in. And then they were just talking about like they can only do it for so long because security kept getting ramped up. So like it's not just this thing where like the EU doesn't want immigration but it looks the other way. It's like it's very actively working against migrants, you know? Like it's either putting them in camps or sending them back. And like when they're sent back, say they're sent back to Libya, they're sent to slavery, you know? Like,
or to be killed.
Yeah.
Or, you know, like death.
Yeah.
Like they know what's happening. And, you know, yeah. I sorry, there's just thing you reminded me of something there when you were talking, because one of the other people responding to this post, who was like a Sinn Féin guy, who was saying he wasn't going to vote for PBP again because of like how much they benefited from Sinn Féin's votes and how much they criticised Sinn Féin, but which to be honest I don't think they do a tremendous amount, and when they do it's kind of like friendly and justified. It's not like, you know, it's like anyway, it doesn't matter. The point is he brought up that they were involved with some English socialist group, I can't remember what it was, but that this English socialist group believed in like a union that kind of like incorporated Ireland as well. Okay, this is what he said. I'm just reading what, you know, I read in this tweet. I didn't research it anymore, but there was something about it which was like the Roderick O'Gorman thing, where it was like he was photographed next to this guy who wanted to lower the age of consent. Ergo, Roderick O'Gorman is a paedophile. You know, it's like, you know, that you can talk with a lot of people and you actually don't have to agree. Maybe that's where the confusion is coming from. Maybe that's why you hate PBP. It's because you don't realize you actually don't have to agree on every single fucking thing. You know. And I'm not saying that in a stupid way like right-wingers would say it, like, look, I just believe that, you know, gay people shouldn't be allowed to get fucking wedding cake or something. Do you know what I mean? Or that, you know, all this type of stuff, and it's okay. It's like, no, those aren't two things that are in direct opposition to each other. Those are just kind of like, I don't know, you have more in common than divides you. Exactly. And if you're focusing on that stuff, then that's coalition building, as opposed to the stuff where you're saying, no, you just need to fucking bend the knee to the biggest party, you know, the biggest left-wing party. But then, of course, like, they aren't a left-wing party in the way that PBP is a left-wing party, and they've benefited from being associated with left-wing things. So in many ways, they're benefiting from the language of PBP and all these other people who were brave enough to wear the label before them.
Exactly,
you know?
Yeah. Like, it's a long criticism of Sinn Féin that they just have adopted left-wing policy for, like, political gain, you know? For, like, entryism. But, obviously some of them in Sinn Féin aren't. Like,
here, like, and I wouldn't have believed it until, like, the recent stuff with opening up, and also with the Greyhounds, and with their kind of failure. Like, and I gotta say, I brought up Christine O'Mahony earlier on, and I still don't think I think she was incredibly naive to bring that story to, you know, the papers in the way that she did. And I thought it was an incredibly frustrating discourse where you have to listen to fucking, you know, where the Sinn Féin supporter came to her house and told her to stop posting. And I thought it was like, she was like, I thought that was pretty irresponsible. I thought that was pretty whatever. But I have to say, I feel like I was very angry back then, but now after the past while, I was like, I don't feel angry. I kind of feel like, fuck, maybe I should have listened more. I think that, like, I was actually wrong in that instance. Can you imagine? But no, like, you know, like, it isn't much to expect the leader of this party to come out for, you know, gay rights and come out to, you know, condemn all of this stuff, you know? And I think, like, just some of the stuff from the past few days and, you know, the tail end of last year, I was just kind of like, okay, no, now I'm kind of running out of fucking rope to give you. Do you know what I mean? Or to say, like, okay, let's just, you know, that's okay. But I mean, at the same time, I'm, you know, when next general election comes around, I'm definitely, they're getting a number from me, certainly. Because I'm not, like, this Fine Gael Fianna Fáil thing cannot fucking go on, and it's the best opportunity to allow for the possibility of somebody like PBP being in government, you know. I know we're kind of running, actually, while we're just talking about PBP really quickly, I want to give a big congratulations to one of our patrons. Have you seen this? Have you heard about this, by the way, James?
No.
Bridget Purcell has just, let me get the phrasing right entirely, has just launched her. She's now a PvP rep for Dublin-based South.
Oh, amazing!
Yeah, so congratulations, Bridget, and everybody should go to @BridgetPurcell to follow her. And yeah, it's great. I'm very excited. I kind of feel like all of the patrons are like our children. So when they do stuff, it's like basically we're doing it as well.
I think of them as my parents. Because they give me money. And
yeah. Well, they're like our parents' children.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Your parent children are basically your grandparents, aren't they?
No, they're like the people, they put you in a home and they kind of are responsible for your well-being and everything. And, you are in hock to them, but at the same time, you were responsible, for their achievements and what they did and everything they go on to become. So by listening to this podcast, Bridget Purcell has attained and achieved, an enviable position.
Yeah.
I don't know where I was going with that, but that sentence. So I just had to.
She's unlocked one of those Xbox 360 awards.
That's exactly it.
What game were you playing?
I was playing. I said that my favorite game of last year was Beneath a Steel Sky, which was released in 1995. It was just the best game I played last year, and so they released a sequel about 25 years later, I guess, and it's called Beyond a Steel Sky, and it's you can imagine that the graphical leap between those two games is phenomenal,
Yeah.
So I was so excited and I was eager to play it. All the same people were involved, and I just
Is it any good?
Just fucking dying. I hate it. I fucking hate it. Like, some of the vistas in it look amazing, but it's I didn't expect amazing. It's a kind of niche genre. It's an adventure game. It's a point and click adventure. So you just want to have, you come into a 3D area. There's 5 people there. You talk to them. They give you a selection of hints, and then you combine them in that area to solve a puzzle, and then move on to the next one. That's all I fucking want.
Yeah.
But instead, they have this weird system whereby the characters are walking around. But not only that, there's also NPCs there walking around, and robots flying around.
Okay.
And so usually
for a start.
So, well, what happens is you rely on your cursor hovering over somebody, and then the options present themselves to be talk to this person or whatever. So anyway, what keeps happening is you're hovering over it, and then just walk away, and then you have to fucking follow them with your cursor, and then a robot flies in front of your path, and then you accidentally click talking to them.
What is this?
And
the club.
I'm
trying to talk to someone. They walk away.
I'm just trying to talk to somebody, and they walk through a wall or through another character.
Yeah.
And then they haven't figured out, they're trying to come up with some innovative system for usually with adventure games you have the entire question written out, so why did you do that, or where can I find this guy, and you decide which one. But in this one, they just want you to have one word, okay? So you don't I guess ruin the question on yourself, so it'll be where, or it'll be a location. Let's say there's somebody at a petrol station. You'll just say petrol station and go, what's the deal with the petrol station? But what ends up happening is they've written the script in such a way, it almost feels like nobody was consulted, writing from character to character. So you keep going to there's 4 or 5 characters in an area. You keep going to them and you keep getting told the same thing again and again and again. And I'm just getting to a stage where it's oh, you can't get across the bridge unless you have a truck, And then sometimes even in the same character, you'll be talking to them, and then it's so your truck's stuck here. Yeah, and I can't get across the bridge unless I have the truck.
Right.
And it's well, I want to get across. How would I do that? Well, you need a truck, first of all. And I let you drive mine, but it's broken at the moment. It's yeah, I know all of that information.
Yeah.
And then you go to another character, and they'll say the exact same fucking thing to you. I'm just going completely nuts. I just want to be done with the game now and get through it. But like I said, the things that make it impossible for you to talk to the character you're supposed to talk to, or know where you're supposed to be, or know where you're supposed to be going, means that the game is just dragging on and on. And oh my god, I'm losing my mind. But
did you ever play LA Noire?
No, I haven't done that.
But there's a mechanism in that where you're interviewing people. You're trying to solve a case, and you interview people, and you bring them in, and whenever you're talking to them, and then you can either it's like something like be nice, or it's like believe, doubt, be nice, or something like that. But basically, in between the design of the game and the release, basically the creators, when they were writing the script, came up with 3 words to use. So like believe, doubt, be nice. And then the writers came up with 3 different words.
Okay.
So like you're playing the game and like so many of the interviews just don't make sense because you're like, oh, you're trying to doubt something. And instead of doubt, they had like accuse was the original word.
Yeah.
So when you read the word doubt, you think your character's going to be like, oh, I'm not sure. You think, like, are you telling the truth?
Yeah, are you being genuine?
Yeah, but like he's really like, are you fucking lying to me? You know? He's like way too aggro. So like, how does the game you fail just because you're like, my character seems to be bipolar and I do not know how to.
Yeah, like the emotions, because like, you know, most times in video games, and this is a complaint, I don't know if anybody listens to Zero Punctuation, but some of the videos are good, even though sometimes he can be a bit like, I don't know, he's got some opinions. I'm just like, fucking, but you know, he doesn't have to agree with everything. Anyway, I'm rambling. But anyway, he's always complaining about like binary endings, giving the illusion of choice. Yeah. It's like there's the good ending or the bad ending, and then that's it, you know? Yeah. But it's like, oh, you get to choose, and there's multiple endings, and it's like, not really, you know? There's only like 2 outcomes you can possibly have, and both lead to the same result, largely speaking, you know? Yeah. They're too late to change anything significantly in the game. Although there was a game called Life is Strange that did have like a thing which did make it pretty big change.
Mass Effect is the worst for that.
Bad game though.
Like, at the end of the third game, basically, the whole game they were told you like what happens is really up to you, and there's gonna be loads of different endings. And then at the end, you're like, the only thing you can do is like basically sort of cause an explosion. And it's either like you sacrifice yourself, you sacrifice someone else, so you don't do anything. Yeah. So the only 3 options, basically you just see a different colour of explosion. And that was it. Like people poured hundreds of hours into those games, and then like they all got the same ending.
Yeah. Like I remember there was a game, you remember The Getaway?
Yes.
Do you know The Getaway? Yeah. Like those games were like, they were a bit clunky, but ultimately like they were all set in London. There was The Getaway, and then The Getaway Black Monday. Yeah. And but in The Getaway, like I remember seeing it and being like really impressed with some of the mechanics that they had in the game at the time, because they were the first game that I'd seen that didn't have a health bar or any kind of on-screen stuff. You could just tell by how much blood your character had on the back of their shirt. Yeah. You know? And you had to heal up. You just had to kind of take a breather in a doorway, and it was also incredibly realistic in that, like, if you walked out in the middle of the street, you know the way in like Grand Theft Auto, you get hit by a car going at like 90 miles an hour, you just bounce off the hood and keep going, you know? Yeah. But in this one, it's like, I remember getting hit by a Fiat Punto. They also had brand cars in the game, which was cool. But I got hit by a Fiat Punto going, I swear to God, like, just kind of slowly moving along. And then they're like, you're dead now. Like, fucking, I'm dead.
And like, the driver has PTSD from killing you.
You know, yeah. But in The Getaway Black Monday, now I could be wrong, so people can tell me, but there were multiple endings, and I remember seeing all these multiple endings, and like they were like each incredibly distinct, you know? Yeah. Now there were cutscenes, but ultimately it was like, you know, you just did 1 or 2 things that triggered a different one. But I believe there was like 3 or 4 endings, and one of them was like a bad ending or a good ending for one character and not the other, or something like that, you know? Yeah. And I don't think I've seen a game, you know, even though it was on PlayStation 2, a game that had that much, like, I don't know, ambition, I suppose, you know? And it was a small developer. Like, they were based in London, as far as I know, as well, you know?
The Grand Theft Auto 5 caused uproar. Like, there was almost a riot. Because, like, at the end of that game, you basically could choose to kill one of the 3 characters. You know, it was like, you can kill this guy, or you can kill this guy, or you can do nothing. You could try to save them both. Yeah. And then, have you ever played it?
No, I'm not. I don't have any interest, especially not in the story of GTA.
Well, there's like thing in the game where you can switch between the 3 characters. But then at the end, if you kill one of them, you can never play as him ever again.
Oh shit.
And people did not like that. Because it's like the only choice in the game that has any consequence. Like, basically in the history of Grand Theft Auto, a choice like that would always be ignored. But like, this is the one time they stuck to their guns. I just finished a book about Sean Quinn, the building developer.
And wait, can I say one thing real quick? Is that the reason I brought up that idea about endings was because everything in video games has to be so heightened, and there can be only like binary emotions, so you can't like focus on that stuff, do you know?
Yeah.
So that's why like these games, you know, you see these hilarious like reaction shots in LA Noire where it's like, I don't know, I think he might be guilty, and it's like, it just looks like in his face. But like, I remember at one point there was going to be, do you remember there was a thing called, that was like, God, it was like the iToy, but it was for the Xbox. What was that called again?
Yes, I do remember that.
The fuck was that called? The Sense or something?
Yeah, you're right, I think it was the Sense.
But anyway, Peter Molyneux, who's
that guy is famous insane. Like, every time a new Fable game comes out, he's like, you can plant, well, the famous one is like, you can plant a seed and watch it become a tree.
Yeah. He would do so because he had like Black and White, and so Black and White was a very ambitious game where you get to play God.
Black and White ruled. I love that game.
It was a great game. I loved it. I mean, it became very repetitive, and it was very hard to progress at a certain point. But like, you know, I really did enjoy it.
What animal did you choose?
I chose a tiger.
Not the cow.
And I was just remembering my friend, like, he was like, okay, I'm gonna be like really good. So like he basically like got his like minion to be like really, really good.
Yeah.
By the way, you know, you play God, but you're kind of representative on Earth. It's essentially like a giant fucking tiger, if you want it to be, or like a bull or a bear or something like that. Cow. And but anyways, he decided he was gonna like, oh no, I'm really gonna fucking get 100% in this game. I'm gonna fucking own this one, you know. And so he made his monster be really, really good, you know. And anyway, it ended up just backfiring on him because it devalued all of the miracles he was able to commit, because the monster would keep going around like, here's some grain to all the peasants and whatever, and they would just be like, yeah, I've seen somebody make a fucking cornfield. Your monster's over there doing it for everybody, you know. They had to like punish this guy for doing too many miracles.
Yeah, maybe you could like spank the monster and stuff.
Yeah, and turn them evil basically by doing that. But anyway, Peter Molyneux basically said, like, you know, oh, Fable's going to have all these features, and then it didn't have that. Oh, Fable 2 is going to have all these features, didn't have it. And then he came out and he had this thing called Project Milo, which was going to be on this Sense thing, and it was like a little boy, okay? And they showed a demo of it, and it was like this very realistically rendered little boy, and it would be like, look at Catherine talking to Milo. How's it going, Milo? It's going great, Catherine. It was like, oh, where's your dog? And the dog had like, or where's your fucking tadpoles that you killed? Do you know what I mean? You know? And he's like, they're okay. Now, what you saw there, Milo had a hesitation in his voice, which Claire is able to pick up on and realize that he's lying, you know? So then the camera is able to pick up your face and read your facial features, even the single micro reaction, so that you can interrogate Milo and basically be like, where are your tadpoles? And Milo will be like, okay, they're dead, you know? Right. And so there was talk at one point of integrating that with LA Noire, so that you would have this kind of fucking sensate thing, so you'd be able to physically act out that stuff. But of course, like, the tech that he was talking about, the Project Milo never came to fruition.
Yeah.
And then people were like, can you show us like that demo that you were working on? Because I swear to God, one of the fucking things that they had in it is that she did a drawing of a fish in real life, okay? And then she like lifted the fish in front of the camera in a like split second, and all of a sudden it was like he had been handed the drawing of the fish. And they were like saying like, oh, the scanner on this is so, you know,
it's so
powerful.
Obviously fake.
It was so fake, and they're like, oh, I don't think we have the build for that anymore, and that game's not really in development, and actually we're not even making games for that product anymore, so it doesn't really exist. And it's like, it was just so funny. That was like the most egregious example of something that he lied
and
about.
That's like literally science fiction, because like you read about the guy who did what's the one where in a spaceship? The other,
No Man's Sky.
yeah.
Yeah.
He was just like spoofing. He was just like, you can do all this crazy stuff. And like eventually he did most of it. Peter Molyneux was literally like,
game's working. Yeah.
This kid is alive. You know?
In the game, in this thing,
yeah.
you know?
Like, and it's impossible technology. Like, that you might never develop in a we have it. I know you can't see it.
It would be incredibly irresponsible for you to develop like a sentient little boy in a machine.
Yeah, just punishing it, you know? Just turn it off every day.
Please, whenever you go, it's so dark in here, just turning it off. That'll be like an episode of the friggin' Black Mirrors, you know?
Yeah.
To quote Liam
That is like freaking Black Mirror. Yeah. Do you know why it's called Black Mirror?
Huh?
Do you know why it's called Black Mirror?
Yeah, I do, but tell me.
It's because he
looked in a mirror.
On eBay a mirror, and the camera was black, and he couldn't use it, and he was like, "This is the computer's fault," you know. This is the bloody computers. You know?
Yeah. I thought he was gonna say that he had a mirror that only black people could see their reflection in.
No, that wouldn't really be like good or bad. Just be curious.
It's like, that's very strange. It's a little funny though.
Yeah.
The convo continues on patreon.com/Celtic Ligers. The lads started to wind down but ended up talking for another hour about the mother and baby homes. It's a fucking disgrace. Now they thank the patrons.
What's our theme?
Our theme is the sea.
The sea. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Cool. All right. So thank you to Mark Maloney, our new patron. I'm very happy to be thanking Mark Maloney for the first time.
Shark Maloney.
Shark Maloney. Oh, that's very good. Blahin de Burka. That'll be Blahin de Bota.
Yeah.
No.
What about floating de Bota?
Oh yeah, I was gonna say floating de Toraka, isn't it?
I don't know.
That's a boat, isn't it?
I don't know.
A currach, sorry.
Yeah. Floating de Burka, floating the currach. Yeah, I like that.
Yep. All right, cool. Alan Carroll. That's good lord.
What about whaling carol? You know, like a carol you might sing when you're whaling, like hunting whales.
Yeah. Actually, we should sing the black and white song, you know. We're not keen on sinking, so we're all sitting here and thinking. Do you remember that? When you had to go down to the beach and they would sing that stupid song? In black and white.
No.
Okay. It'll play us out, I guess. Rob Gale. That'll be Rob Gale, like a gale that kind of guides you on your way.
Bobbing whale.
Boat. Bobbing whale, another whale. Oh no, it's not. We didn't have a whale. Yeah, bobbing whale. Stephen Bradley. That'll be Stephen Padley.
What about?
That was a good one.
What?
Sometimes you have to accept some of the ones I say. Do you know? Stephen Padley.
What's Padley?
Like a paddle.
Right.
For a boat.
Okay. It's just they don't use paddles in the sea.
Yes, they do.
They use an oar.
Come on. Alright, fine.
I accept your criticism, but it's just in this instance, I'm not taking Stephen Padley.
Okay, fine.
I think there's something like Finn, like a Finn.
Oh yeah, Steve Finn Padley, because you know.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine.
That's a nice compromise. Alison Spittle. That'll be. God damn it.
Well, like.
Callus, like you get on your hands when you're rowing too long with your paddle.
Callus on fiddle.
Yeah, because when they play the fiddle to motivate you to row, you know. Richard Zimmerman, that'll be fucking.
What about something Zimmer Finn? You know, Glimmer Finn, Glimmering Richard.
Glimmerfish is not a fish. Richard Glimmerfish.
What about Richard? No. What about?
We should replace man with fish. That would be funny.
Fish are glimmering.
Wait,
Fish
Richard
are glimmering.
Fisherman.
Fish are glimmering.
Richard Fisherman.
Next.
Bridget Purcell.
Bridge over.
Yes? I feel like we use that one a lot. God damn it. You know, we should write these beforehand.
Nah.
Probably be.
Purcell. Per C. Bridge per C. Like.
Okay, yeah, cool.
One
like
bridge per C.
One bridge per C. That's all you're allowed. Milky Fox. That'll be
Milky Fish.
Milky Fish, cool. Milkfish. I don't know. Is that a fish? Could be. Kyle O'Neill. That'll be fucking oh my god, Line O'Steele. And that'll be because you got your line out, you're getting your fish, and oh god, you stole the fish from another person and they're like raising their fist at you.
Or I think another way that can be read is like, you know, line of steel.
Yes.
It's like
okay, yeah.
You know, like for the transatlantic cables, there's like they're made out of steel. You know, so the telegraph can reach to England.
Yeah. Connor Barry. That'll be God damn it. Schooner. Schooner. Wary. You're wary of taking the schooner out. I think a schooner is
definitely
fish, a boat.
Schooner is definitely something.
Wary is pretty bad, but
wary's.
Yeah, schooner is a ship.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Next, Liam McCartan. That'll be fucking Beam.
Bream. Is bream a fish? Bream.
Yeah, why not? Bream. In a McCart.
Yeah.
And they're being brought
There's
down.
like a cart full of bream.
Oh, we got bream for sale. Bream for sale.
Get your bream fresh. Or not, whatever the case may be.
Fresh, salty bream. Yeah. Claire O'Newlon. Claire O'Spoolon and a spoolon of twine. I'm sure we've used that.
What about schoonon?
Yeah, another schooner. Claire another schooner.
Where a schooner?
Where's my schooner?
And it's dude, where's my schooner?
Schooner Wary has taken it out. He's like, I was a bit unsure, but I took it out. And then Claire schooner, whatever, O'News and schooner.
What about dude, where's my schooner?
Dude, where's my schooner?
The two of them get back tattoos, and one of them says, "Yar," and the other says, "Yippee." And it's like, what does your tattoo say? Yar. Okay. Do you remember that joke?
Yeah, I remember. It was good. Keep going.
Yeah, but do you remember the joke from the film?
Yeah, I know. Dude, sweet.
Yeah, but instead I replaced it with a yar.
Great bit.
Fish.
It's a great
bit.
It's a very funny movie. It is funny how that movie, like the title of that movie, seems to have lasted longer than the movie itself. Because there was a movie quiz called Dude, Where's My Movie Quiz, and then there was a game I've bought in the year of our Lord 2020 that is called Dude, Where Is My Beer? Okay.
Why did you buy that?
I don't know. I thought the visual looked really good,
bacon?
And
that would have been epic.
It is. Like, that's the worst part. It is that fucking. I played a bit of it, and it's like just making fun of craft beers and stuff. And I was like, what have I done? Because I followed this hashtag.
To Kilkenny, and you were already like a 2012 hipster.
Yeah. So anyway, Niall McGillicool. That'll be.
Niall McGills are cool.
We actually did that one. Would you believe?
What? What could we possibly have done that one for?
I have absolutely no idea, but I know that we've done that one before.
No, McFinn's are cool then.
Okay, Ronan Carey.
Apparently it's his birthday today.
Well, then maybe we'll give him a real one for his birthday.
Ronan, this is a shout out for you.
Yeah, happy birthday. You get a Ronan carry me to the water.
Huh?
drown me in the sea.
Where'd you get that?
Oh no, it's take me to the water.
What about groaning?
Mm-hmm.
Scooter.
Okay. Neve Kelly. Happy birthday, Ronan. Neve Kelly. That'll be.
I mean, welly. I know we always say it, but this time.
But it has to be a welly.
It has to be a welly.
Sea,
deep sea welly.
It's going to
deep
be
sea welly.
Deep sea welly. Cool. Paulie Doyle. God damn it.
Pumpkin boil. No. Whale boil.
Trial boil.
A boil on a whale. Boil.
Yeah, I know, but I just feel I'm trying to think of another word besides boil.
Oil.
I want to do like oil.
Whale oil.
Is good.
Whaley
oil. Okay.
Whale oil.
Whaley oil. Whaley oil. Joe Joyce, and that'll be.
Do we have?
This is the last one, and we should stop doing
no,
this because
it's good.
we're discouraging people from joining because they're like, we're making this longer.
You just made that up. I actually love that we have so many patrons. I love all.
Yeah, thank you so much, genuinely.
Joe Choice. Crow's Choice.
Crow's Nest.
Yes.
Crow's Nest. Crow's Nest Joyce, but he's like, this is what we're gonna flesh it out a bit more because he's in the Crow's Nest and he's Joyce and he's looking, he's like, oh, there's shit up ahead. I don't know.
Yeah, and he only has one eye. I don't know. He's like James Joyce.
Yes, exactly. It's James Joyce in a Crow's Nest, and he's they're like, why did you pick this guy? He's only got one good eye and he's incredibly old, and he just keeps talking about he's talking in gibberish, like bloody Finnegan's Wake.
And he's Irish, which they just go home. Irish.
Yeah,
that's a callback.
So that's for you'll get a personalized one like that if you give us €11.
Joe Joyce is my personal hero.
Yes, agreed. Also, by the way, we're going to start a Twitch thing soon, and I'm going to be playing Garfield Racing, and James just has to watch.
I'm not watching you play a computer game. It's so frustrating.
I guess maybe I'll just have to download the game so we can play it online together.
Yeah, that's what I'll do.
Oh God, you have to pay full price for it now. I got that on sale. Like
absolutely trashy with
in Garfield Lasagna Pack Racing or whatever it's called.
All right.
Okay, that's it. And you can get us on CelticLigers.com and Patreon.com/Celtic Ligers.